Why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears. Once upon a time, in a vibrant African forest, all the animals lived together peacefully, each contributing to the community in their own way. The forest was a beautiful place filled with towering trees, flowing rivers, and an abundance of life. Every animal, big and small, had a role to play in maintaining the harmony of their world. Among the forest inhabitants was a mosquito who had a reputation for being a braggart and a liar. The mosquito loved to fly around the forest, telling exaggerated stories and boasting about things that never happened. He often annoyed the other animals with his constant buzzing and tall tales. Many of the animals grew tired of his antics, but they tolerated him nonetheless. One day, as the mosquito was buzzing around, he decided to pay a visit to his friend, the iguana. He landed on a branch next to the iguana and said, "Iguana, you won't believe what I saw today. I saw a farmer digging up yams that were as big as me. Can you imagine yams that large?" The iguana, who was basking in the sun and enjoying a peaceful day, was not interested in the mosquito's nonsense. He knew the mosquito was prone to lying and didn't want to listen to any more of his stories. The iguana rolled his eyes and muttered, "You're always telling lies, mosquito. I'm tired of listening to you." But the mosquito, undeterred, continued buzzing around the iguana's head, repeating his story over and over. Frustrated and wanting to enjoy his day without being bothered, the iguana picked up 2 sticks and stuck them into his ears to block out the mosquito's voice. Satisfied that he could no longer hear the mosquito, the iguana sauntered away into the forest, the sticks still lodged in his ears. As the iguana walked along, he didn't hear the friendly python calling out to greet him. The python, a gentle creature, saw the iguana approaching and called out, "Good morning, iguana. How are you today?" But the iguana, unable to hear with the sticks in his ears, ignored the python and continued on his way. The python was puzzled by the iguana's behavior. He thought to himself, "Why would iguana ignore me like that? Have I done something to offend him?" Worried that the iguana might be angry, the python decided it would be best to avoid any trouble, so he slithered away to find a hiding place. He spotted a deep burrow in the ground and quickly slid inside to hide until he could figure out what was going on. However, the burrow the python chose belonged to a rabbit, who was inside at the time. When the rabbit saw the python enter her home, she was terrified. Thinking the python had come to eat her, the rabbit bolted out of the burrow as fast as she could, her heart racing with fear. She ran through the forest, darting between bushes and trees, desperate to find safety. As the rabbit was running, she passed by a crow perched high in a tree. The crow, seeing the rabbit running so frantically, thought there must be some immediate danger nearby. He began to call loudly to alert all the other animals. "Caw! Caw! Danger! Danger!" he cried, flapping his wings and making a great noise. The monkey, who was swinging from branch to branch in a nearby tree, heard the crow's warning cries. He looked down and saw the rabbit dashing through the underbrush. The monkey, fearing that a predator might be on the loose, decided to flee to a safer location. In his haste to escape, the monkey leapt from one branch to another, but in his panic, he didn't notice that the branch he landed on was old and brittle. As the monkey landed, the branch snapped under his weight and fell to the ground. Unfortunately, the branch crashed right into an owl's nest that was nestled in a tree below. The nest was home to the owl and her 3 owlets. The falling branch struck the nest, knocking it to the ground and crushing one of the baby owls. The mother owl, who had been away hunting, returned to find her nest destroyed and one of her owlets dead. Overcome with grief, she let out a mournful hoot that echoed through the forest. The owl, who was responsible for waking up the sun each morning with her song, was too heartbroken to perform her duty. She sat in her tree, weeping silently for her lost child, unable to sing her morning song. Without the owl's song to wake him, the sun did not rise. The forest remained shrouded in darkness, and the animals grew anxious and confused. They had no idea what had happened or why the sun had not risen as it should. After a while, the animals decided to hold a meeting to discuss the strange events and figure out why the sun was still sleeping. The lion, as king of the forest, called for all the animals to gather. "Something terrible has happened," he roared. "The sun has not risen, and we are all in darkness. We must find out why." One by one, the animals came forward to tell what they knew. The rabbit explained how she had fled her burrow because the python had entered it. The python explained that he was only hiding because he thought the iguana was angry with him. The iguana explained that he had stuck sticks in his ears because he didn't want to listen to the mosquito's lies anymore. Finally, the lion called upon the mosquito. "Mosquito," he said, "it seems that all of this started with you. What do you have to say for yourself?" The mosquito, realizing the trouble he had caused, felt a pang of guilt. He didn't mean for things to go so wrong. With a small voice, he admitted, "I was only telling a story. I didn't know it would cause so much trouble." The lion, along with the other animals, scolded the mosquito for his lies and the chaos they caused. "Because of your lies, the forest is in darkness, and the owl has lost her child," the lion said sternly. "You must learn that words have consequences." Ashamed and regretful, the mosquito flew away from the gathering, knowing he was now despised by the other animals. From that day on, the mosquito buzzed around people's ears, constantly asking, "Is everyone still angry at me? Can you forgive me?" But the people, annoyed by the mosquito's incessant buzzing, always swat him away, never forgetting the trouble his lies had caused. And that is why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears to this day. Moral of the story: this story teaches the importance of being honest and the impact that lies and thoughtless actions can have on others. It also highlights the interconnectedness of all creatures and how one's actions can have unintended consequences that affect everyone.